Good morning and happy Monday to you. My name is LaShonda Brown, and welcome to Bootstrap Biz Advice Live, where I teach service providers how to work less and live more by leveraging tech and YouTube. I have so much ground to cover today, guys. I have given myself a post-it note here. I've got probably 15 tabs open. We are just going to hop in. We are landing the plane with this 3-part series that I've been doing all about how to rebuild your list. And I want to share with you what is practically working in my business to help me to recover from having a list with an open rate of less than 1% to now averaging 70% and beginning the journey again of monetizing that list of subscribers. So that being said, there are some links that I want to share with you. There are some links that may just pop up. And so if they do, I want you to let me know what you need in the comments. And then after the live stream, we'll go back and edit it. So if this is your first time here, when you like this live stream, it helps it get in front of more people. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Our live streams for this series have gotten over 2,000 views, which is huge for me. Okay. We are in a process of growth. I'm going to share more about that in just a second. But the reality is your engagement, whether you are watching live or watching in the replay, really does matter. So if at any point, if you like this, make sure that you hit the thumbs up because it's going to help me to reach more people. What we tend to do is add time codes in the afternoon on Monday to help you to go back, skip to specific sections if you want to replay those to help you to actually implement what you heard. So right now, this is the time to listen and ask questions. The replay will be available for free on the channel for you to go back and listen. So make sure that you ask for what you need so that we can notate that. Now, I also want to give a shout out to our sponsor of this series. I'm so grateful for Relay. And so I want to tell you a little bit more about them before we hop into the content. Owning a business means spending a lot of time thinking about money. Do you have enough cash to pay your vendors, cover payroll, keep anything for yourself? Relay helps you keep your business on the money. It's my online banking and money management platform that has helped me gain more control over my cash flow. If you've ever read the book Profit First, Relay is the official banking platform for Profit First. Open accounts in seconds, set up auto transfer rules, and put your allocations on autopilot. With up to 20 checking accounts, you can separate cash for every expense. Payroll, taxes, owner's comp, and know exactly how much you have to spend with a quick glance in the dashboard. Get banking built for small businesses. Sign up in 10 minutes at lashondabrown.com/relay to start your application and get $100 when you fund a Relay account. Here's to seeing your cash flow clear as day with Relay. So I'm going to go ahead and put up my link for Relay here, but I also want to show you something special that happened in the email that got sent out this morning. So I will go ahead and screen share that for you because that's part of what I want to cover in this live stream. And I believe it is this link here. Okay. There we go. So this is the email that got sent out this morning. So I'm trying something new as part of using myself as the case study. I have switched the redirect URL for the Bootstrap Club. So if you were to go to lashondabrown.com/join the club or head over to lashondabrown.com and you were to look under that header image, you would see this particular form. This is a phrase that I have used a lot in business. Burnout is real, but it doesn't have to be your reality. And so if you were to give me your name and your email address and hit join the club right this minute, you would get access to the most recent email that I sent to the Bootstrap Club, which is the one that we're looking at right now. So, jumping ahead of things, this is a very simple way for you to make sure that people who are hearing about your newsletter or your email list get access to the information that you have already sent to people that you are nurturing so that you don't have to chase them down and essentially follow up. All you need to do is to go in and edit what happens after someone hits submit. In this case, I said when someone fills out that form, I want them to be redirected to this particular email. So again, this is the one that I sent out today. At the very top, I talked about the live stream. I said it's presented by Relay. And what I like to do is I like to give you all some practical advice for how you can get the most out of Relay as they are sponsoring the different series that I do. So this is not only a tip for something you can do for your own offers, but something you can do for your brand partners. You don't have to give the exact same pitch every time that you share. In this particular email, I talked about the fact that Relay has a Visa credit card that has no annual fees, and it also has up to 1.5% cash back. So that is something that I tend to do when I share about the Relay sponsorship in relationship to the live streams. So again, the link there, the button there is linked to my Relay page that will get you $100 when you sign up for Relay account. Underneath that, and I'm not going to give it away for those of you who are not on the email list, I have started adding in 3 tech tools that I recommend, 2 ways to learn from me live, and either one member win or one way that I can support you. And so in this week, I talked about ways to simplify the process of creating content in Q2. And so the very first link in this email, Bootstrap Club, hear me out, is a new app that released 2 days ago that allows you to shoot in horizontal and vertical mode at the same time. Okay. So I think that is going to be a game changer when it comes to creating video content. And so I wanted to make sure that the Bootstrap Club was aware of this new app that's going to allow them to essentially create content in multiple formats at the same time, literally working less, living more. So if you are not on my newsletter list, all you have to do is go to my website. When you sign up, you will get access to this email. If you're already on the list, the app is linked in this newsletter. Now, this technique that I am actively doing on this live stream is a very simple way for you to automate workflows and automate sales in your business. If I had created this app, this would be a great way for me to share about it. Okay. So I just want to give you all lots of practical examples. When I describe something in business, I want to be able to show you what it looks like in practice. So this was just an email that got sent out today. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware that it exists. The last thing that I did as I was getting ready for this live stream is I did a pinned comment on this live stream. So the pinned comment is going to send you to a Flodesk form, which I have set up an automation for. So let me get you behind the scenes of what that looks like, and I'll show you how I also used this morning's email as another way to execute this strategy. So if I were to head over to the link in the comments, you guys should be able to see this. You can join the waitlist for the Monetize Your List Bootcamp. After going live on Friday for our Work With Me session, it became very clear that my next bootcamp should be an appropriate follow-up to what we've been talking about. Initially, I had planned to do a bootcamp on LinkedIn because I've been posting there a lot and learning there a lot. However, I have drawn people to this YouTube channel talking about email marketing, and I have yet to actually sell them something that's going to help them to continue learning from me. So instead of talking about LinkedIn in Q2, it makes so much more sense to do a bootcamp on email marketing. And the number one thing that I want people to wrap their minds around is, how can I make money with email marketing? How can I essentially pay for the email marketing software through how I strategically use it? So the boot camp in April is going to be about monetizing your list. And I created a Flodesk form simply to capture people who are interested. Do not have a sales page, have not blocked out the dates yet, have not set up that infrastructure. And so all I want to do right now is simply start the process of collecting interest. So many of you, what you tend to do is you wait until everything is in place and then you share about it. But the way marketing is changing in 2026, people like to be a part of the process. They like to see the messy middle. They like to see the attention to detail that you are placing into the offers that you create. So instead of me, stewing in the background and creating all these assets, instead, what I'm doing is a technique called building in public. This happens a lot in the tech community, and you can easily implement it yourself. All it means is you're sharing about what you're doing as you're doing it. You're building the plane and flying it at the same time. Now, that is going to take a certain level of humility, a certain level of honesty, but what it will do is it will endear people to you, it will build trust, and it will make it a lot easier to sell. So, that being said, what I made sure that I did before I went live on this live stream is that I updated the description box for this live stream, and I created a comment in the comment section of this live stream and used the pin feature to pin the comment. So as people come into the room and they comment, that link will not get buried in the chat. Okay. So the idea is the entire time that I am talking today about workflows and how to rebuild your list, that link will be there. As people pop in and out, they're watching the replay, that link will be there. So there's no need for me to talk about it every single second of this live stream. I can focus more on delivering value because the system to sell is already in place. Okay. So, in order for me to do that, however, I needed to actually have somewhere to send people. And so that's what brings us to this particular Flodesk form. Now, let me go back here and show you what it looks like. So, this is a very simple Flodesk form. It is a full page form that I created, and I absolutely love it for a few reasons. Number one, it has no images. Number two, it is on brand. What that allows me to do is simply duplicate this form, update the segments associated with it, and quickly get a form up in less than 3 minutes. Okay. When you are in a situation where you have an idea and you need to quickly implement it, what you need to do is to limit the amount of variables that need to change. There is no photo, there is no graphic, there's nothing for me to create in order to make this form other than write the copy. And I could have even written less than this. The copy in this form is the same copy from that newsletter email that I showed you just a few minutes ago. All right. So as I was writing that email, I was like, oh man, it would be good for me to have a form for when I go live. So I went into Flodesk, I duplicated a past form, updated the copy, and updated the link. So the end of the link is /monetize your list. Okay. So when you go to that link that is in the description and in the pinned comments, it's going to send you to this page and it will add you to the waitlist if you put your first name and email address in it. However, there is another way for you to get on that segment. And if we go back to the email that I sent this morning and we scroll down to the bottom, under one way to get support, you see a button that says join the bootcamp waitlist. Okay. This is the exact same place that I am sending people from that form. So now I have my YouTube live stream driving traffic to the segment, and I have my email list that already has engaged subscribers driving traffic to that segment. Okay. There will be other things that I will do, such as posting on Instagram and posting on LinkedIn. But to get the funnel started, the quickest way for me to start the process of preparing to sell seats for this bootcamp was for me to leverage things that I was already using. I was already sending out a Monday email. I was already going live on YouTube. And so those two places got the engagement first. In Flodesk, all I did was I created a button. Remember, I'm not creating a graphic. I ain't got time for that, right? I created a button and I simply said in the link actions tab, when someone clicks on this button, add them to this segment. Okay. And the link actually sends people to a Canva website. Again, I'm trying to walk through this slowly so that you can kind of wrap your head around what I'm doing. The reason why I'm not sending my newsletter people to a form is the form puts them on my list. They're already on my list. I already have their email address. All I need to know from them is, are you interested in this boot camp? So I could accomplish this with a poll, but I chose to accomplish it with a button because it was just a simple one click, tell me that you're interested. I can utilize this same button weeks leading up to the launch of the bootcamp when I'm nurturing people on my email list. Okay. So the last step in the process is, where am I sending people? When they fill out that Flodesk form that I've put in the pinned comments and put in the description, where do I want to send them? Well, I am going to send them to a Canva website. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it's super simple to customize and I don't have to pay to host this page. I don't have to go inside of my Squarespace site and create a landing page and hide the navigation with special code and do all these different things. All I need to do is to take a very simple design in Canva and publish it as a website. Okay. So in this case, what I'm choosing to do is to utilize some past branding. I actually took branding from the YouTube Shorts guide that I just created for the community, and I made this landing page. It responds to mobile devices, so it keeps everything in the middle and it looks super clean. And so again, when you actually fill out that form or you click on the button in that email, it's going to send you to this Canva website. And this Canva website simply says you've been added to the wait list. The 3-day Monetize Your List Bootcamp will take place over 3 days in April and will focus on strategy, systems, and sales tactics for selling to your email list. As of right now, that's all I have determined. That's all I have lined up. I have in my head what I want to teach, but there is no landing page created to capture leads. There isn't any curriculum finalized. I simply made the decision on Friday that I would change the quarterly bootcamp in Q2 from LinkedIn to email marketing. All right. And I'm walking you through this slowly as a very simple case study to show you this is a much less stressful way for you to actually sell to your list. You can capture new people and get them on your list for a specific reason without creating a freebie. There is no lead magnet that says, something about list monetization. I'm simply saying, are you interested in being a part of this bootcamp? If so, fill out, this very simple Flodesk form. And whether they fill out the Flodesk form or they click on that button at the bottom of that email that I sent this morning to my newsletter list, now I can start to capture a wait list for people who have interest. If you are already a Bootstrap creator on the channel, then you are going to automatically get access to this content because it's going to be paywalled content on the YouTube channel that you'll be able to see. And so I have a whole separate infrastructure for how I'm going to set that up. But quite simply, this is how I'm getting the ball rolling. So when we talk about workflows, sometimes workflows have multiple steps. And other times you're leveraging systems that you already have in place to reduce friction and to easily get the word out. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. I know that I've got people coming in and out. I did see in the YouTube Studio app this morning that something wasn't right. Now I'm looking at StreamYard. Everything looks good here. And I'm looking at YouTube on my phone and it looks like I'm still live. So in the event that you are watching this in the replay because for some reason the live stream was not working, just know that if you have questions, you can ask me in the comments and I will still respond to those on the replay. I'm also going to be prepared to download the live stream today and re-upload if necessary. So we shall see. Life happens. Again, sometimes tech issues happen outside of your control, but it's super important that you stay grounded and that you stay locked in and on top of it, because this time will not be wasted regardless. I have everything recording in StreamYard. So if for some reason YouTube is having, a struggle moment, then I can pivot and do what is necessary to make sure you get the information. So I just want to say that as a little teachable moment in the event, because I'm seeing people come in and out and not sure what that's about, but it's all good. It could be a StreamYard glitch. It could be a YouTube glitch. We don't know, but we carry on. So just putting that out there. I also have my little cheat sheet post-it note to make sure I cover all the ground that I wanted to cover. So that being said, I want to talk about another way that you can leverage Canva and leverage whatever email marketing software you're using. In this case, I'm talking about Flodesk, but how you can leverage Canva in order to map out your workflows. Okay. So we're going to shift from talking about what I'm practically doing in my business right now as this very simple case study to what should you be doing? And I would honestly say this is something that you should be thinking about in Q2 based on information about how Q1 went. When I say Q1, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, it's quarter one, January, February, March for most people. Most people don't do weird fiscal years with the year starting in July and all that. And so if you're thinking about how did things practically go for the last 3 months, I want you to think about not what did you do, but what worked well. Okay. What worked well in January, February, and March to propel your business forward? What actually produced results that you can look back and say, I had a strategy, I leveraged my systems, and I generated sales doing this. So in my case, I have a very practical example that I can show you, and I posted about it on LinkedIn this morning. So in the LinkedIn post this morning, I simply shared an Instagram story that I took a screenshot of because, again, busy. I ain't got time to be hopping in Canva, making all these graphics. I already posted this with the screenshots from emails sent by vidIQ. So I was like, hey, let me just test sharing this on LinkedIn. I simply wanted to show people not only that I achieved a milestone in my business and on the channel of going from 40,000 subscribers to 90,000 subscribers, but I accomplished that in the first 3 months of 2026. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to attract brands, attract potential members for the channel, but also simply grow my LinkedIn because people on LinkedIn love to celebrate milestones, especially when you achieving your milestone can help them get to where they're trying to be. So at the very end of this post, I simply said, my live streams are better than ever and my income is higher than ever because I strategically did less, not more. What can you do to take something off your plate this week to make more room for creativity? Okay. So this is something that I practically did in my business by focusing Q1, January, February, and March specifically on YouTube. And because I focused on it in my business, I saved myself time by making it the focus for the membership and for our community. So the boot camp in January was about YouTube Live. What do I do? Twice a week, YouTube Live. February was about YouTube growth strategies. What was I trying to do? grow my YouTube channel. In March, I talked about YouTube Shorts. Why? Because YouTube is promoting shorts, and a lot of people are burnt out on TikTok and Instagram, and they want to leverage YouTube Shorts. So, all that being said, with that singular focus on I am not trying to do everything in my business in Q1. I'm simply trying to do a deep dive into YouTube and to share my findings with my community. I know for a fact that that was an effective strategy because I was constantly checking in, constantly developing curriculum based on that topic. Now, if you want to, feel free to go over to LinkedIn and, comment on this post because I really would love to know what are you practically doing this week in order for you to make more room for creativity. You can also put it in the comments, changing my little timer here. You can also put it in the comments on this post, okay? This is a very simple way for you to not only create content for Instagram, create content for LinkedIn, but now I'm coming over to YouTube and I'm using that same content as a prompt for my live and replay audience. I'm trying to explain what I'm doing and reverse engineer it so that you can start to wrap your head around the fact that in order for you to actually work less and live more, you have to get more leverage out of what you're actually doing. You have to be able to work in your business and market your business at the same time. And part of the reason why we burn ourselves out is of the two things, working on the business, marketing the business, most people tend to market more than they actually execute and do. It's fun to create the graphics in Canva. It's fun to experiment with YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. But at the end of the day, what you get paid for most people, is to do the work that you're marketing. And so we need to get more out of the time that we're spending online. So that being said, I'm showing you how I am practically getting more out of my content. And so in my case, because I'm hyper aware, I know what worked well. But for you, this is the exercise that I want you to implement. So let me go ahead and close out some of these tabs to help me to focus a little bit better. And let's see here. We don't need this one. Okay, we want to head on over to a Canva whiteboard. Now, if you are new to my community, you may not know this, but I have an actual digital whiteboard on wheels. Whiteboard gave it to me. And when I do my boot camps, I actually tether myself to the computer and tether my whiteboard into StreamYard and practically write on the board as I teach concepts. However, that is not sustainable to be doing every Monday for these live streams. So in these cases, I like to use Canva whiteboards inside of Canva because it gives me an infinite space for me to illustrate concepts. Okay. So if you go into Canva and you just type in whiteboard into templates, or you select whiteboards under what would you like to design today, it's going to pop into a very empty space, but also give you some suggestions for practical ways that you can use it. So here it talked about timelines and family trees, vision boards. But what I want you to actually use it for is to map out your workflows. So a very simple thing that I tend to do is I just use the backslash shortcut on Canva and I just type in shapes. From there, it brings up shapes that I can choose from, basic shapes here, or I can select it from the cut down, or the drop down. So I'm just going to select this shape here, and that's going to give me the ability to not only have a shape in a Canva whiteboard, but for me to have a shape that I can type into. Okay. So we talk about opportunity or offer ladders in our membership all the time. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start making stuff up for the sake of the example. So we're going to say we're going to have a free thing here. And what I tend to do is style the first one and then duplicate it. So we'll just make that white text and we're going to say free and add 3 more. And so from there, we're going to say free, low, mid, and high. Okay. So this would be a very simple offer ladder. So you're taking someone from a piece of free content, probably some type of free download or free opt-in. Then you're using that to market a low ticket offer to them. Once they've experienced the low ticket offer, you want to funnel them into whatever that mid ticket offer is and ultimately end with a high ticket offer. Okay. So that is one dynamic that you need to consider as you map out your workflows. So keep that in mind. And then I want you to actually start thinking about what are these things in your business. So if I were to move this kind of out the way, I could say if we're going to use, we'll just use my business as an example, and we'll make this text a little bit smaller. We could say a free offer would be YouTube passive income guide. Okay. So let's just say that someone comes into my audience and the way that they get on my email list is they download the YouTube passive income guide. The first thing that I want to do within whatever email marketing software that I have is I want to add them to a segment. So I know at a glance, the reason why they are on my list is because they downloaded this specific free resource. Now, from there, I need to think about making money directly from that person. I'm not thinking about making money because of AdSense revenue or the TikTok program or Instagram Reels program. I'm saying specifically from that person who came in from that free resource, what is a low ticket way that that person can help me make money in my business? Well, let's just say in this case, they download that free YouTube passive income guide. And let's see what size font is that, 20. And we can say that maybe a low ticket offer that I have that I could sell them would be maybe thumbnail templates plus a script custom GPT. I'm just making this up. So say for instance, that person comes in, they download that YouTube passive income guide. And what would make sense to take that information to the next level is a practical tool that will help them to implement what they're learning. So in this case, it could be some templates and a custom GPT. Now, here's the truth. The moment that you have the most engagement, the most activity from your email subscribers is the minute they subscribe in the first place. It's not, days later through a custom email sequence, which is what a lot of people tend to do. What they tend to do is to say, here's the free guide. And over the course of, 2 to 3 weeks, they send these nurturing emails that explains their heart behind what they do and explains every aspect of their business and all this information. And I'm telling you right now, I really do think that those types of sequences have gone out of style because people are so used to instant gratification and instant feedback. Okay. We talked about this in past live streams in this series. We are now marketing to people who are using ChatGPT, who are using Claude, who are using Gemini. And so these are people who expect a personalized experience and they expect things fast. So we don't need to stretch out our workflows over the course of multiple days when we can serve them right now. We can actively help them to address this problem that they are hyper aware of right now. Sure, the free resource is part of the process, but we could offer them something immediately. And so what I see a lot of people doing is they will utilize things, they call them like tripwires, special discount offers, or hidden content on their site, or different things like that to say, I want to capture that attention right in this minute. I don't want them to have to wait days to utilize this. So in this example, if I am taking someone from that free lead magnet, free guide, as soon as they hit submit, I'm going to send that free guide to their inbox, but I'm going to redirect them to a low ticket offer. And I would say that low ticket offer needs to be $19 or less. Okay. This is something that is basically an impulse buy that is associated with the topic of the freebie. So as soon as they hit submit, redirect them. You could redirect them to a Flodesk checkout, to Thrive Cart, to whatever you're using to sell in your business, a shop link that you have. But the point is, you need to acknowledge that they did the correct thing. Hey, since you were interested in the YouTube passive income guide, I thought you may also want some thumbnail templates and my script generator. Here's a special 25% off, 50% off code for you to save money if you'd like to put it in your cart. Something to that effect. So now you're taking that free guide, that person who came in with the aspect of free 99, and you're converting that free person to money in your bank. Can you imagine if all of a sudden you went from just growing a list to actually getting daily payouts directly from email list subscribers because of this very simple workflow? Okay. I'm not saying nurture sequences don't have a place, but I am saying don't miss this step. Don't set things up where you are forcing the sales cycle to take days and days and days when it doesn't have to. Now, that being said, that person who chooses not only to purchase the free guide and chooses to purchase the thumbnail templates and the script generator, regardless of whether they got a discount code, that is a person that needs to go in a segment of their own, because that is someone who is deepening their relationship with you and showing that they are not only interested in free stuff, they are interested in things that were created by you. So they would be highly likely to purchase a mid-ticket offer. So maybe as your mid-ticket offer, you say, okay, how else could I help this person? I've given them this passive income guide. I've given them thumbnail templates and a custom GPT. But ultimately, what I've actually done is given them things that are DIY resources. These are resources that require them to do everything on their own. Even though I'm equipping them, I'm really not involved with this process. I don't need to be there to read them the guide. I don't need to be there to help them use these templates. So for that mid-ticket offer, something that's $97 or less, what if I offered them a done with you solution? Maybe I could say, I could offer them, let's see, something that's going to scale. It could be a YouTube masterclass, and I could teach it live on a monthly basis. Okay. I took a second to think that through, simply because that mid-ticket offer should be something that is experienced as a group. Your high-ticket offer should always be something that is super exclusive and typically something that is done with you, or done for you. When you start thinking about mid-ticket offers, if you're selling one-on-ones as your mid-ticket offer, what will tend to happen is you will get overbooked, you will get overwhelmed and overextended because you're selling your time for too low of a price. Your direct access to you, or you doing something on behalf of someone else, is always super valuable and is always positioned to be a high-ticket offer. Regardless of how many followers you have, regardless of how long you've been in business, if we overextend ourselves by giving people access at a low price point, what tends to happen is you don't have enough time to go around. So that being said, The masterclass gives me an opportunity to essentially do like a group coaching environment to say, hey, I have equipped you with free stuff. I have given you a DIY solution. What about a done with you solution? What about you hopping on a live masterclass? I teach them once a month. So all of my customers, all of my template customers, all of my script generator customers, they can come and attend this class at this rate, and I will help you to develop a 90-day strategy for your YouTube channel. When someone goes through that free ticket and low ticket offer, they are super, super qualified for the mid ticket offer because they have actually given you money. They've not just given you your email. And so what I'm telling you is, instead of you going from just free email subscribers on your email list and just trying to sell them all the things, you want to walk them up some type of ladder. Even if the ladder is like what I showed you this morning, going from free email subscriber to at least subscribing to my wait list. Okay. So the last step in that process would be that high ticket offer. So for the low ticket offer, like I said, we focused more on a DIY solution. Here's something that you can do on your own. For that mid ticket offer, we said we want to do a done with you solution. And so perhaps for that high ticket offer, we could offer a done for you solution. So if someone comes through and says, okay, I'm interested in that free YouTube passive income guide, I have downloaded your templates and your script generator. I've attended the masterclass, so I have a better handle on things. But quite frankly, after doing all of that, I feel like I would much rather just pay you to do it because my time is scarce, not my money. And so in that case, what you could do is you could offer YouTube channel management. And so that could be, we'll say 3, 6, or 12-month retainer. And I'm just giving you an example of something that would make sense in my life. I'm not telling you have to do this. But look at how I'm walking them up that ladder. I'm saying, okay, what worked well for me in Q1 was focusing on YouTube. So let me start mapping out what offers I could create in association with YouTube. And once I have a handle on what those offers would be, once I have a handle on how each level of this offer ladder is going to funnel leads into the next one, then I'm going to hop into my email marketing software and develop a series of workflows there to help support this vision. But what I'm not doing is I'm not immediately hopping into my email marketing software without the monetization model in mind first. Okay. And so this is what I don't see a lot of people talking about when it comes to business coaching or online education. People are saying, oh, the money's in the list. You need to grow the list. And so many people are focused on, I just need email subscribers. I just need people in my Kit account, my Flodesk account, my MailChimp, whatever. But what they're not talking about is, why do you even want the emails in the first place? Because if you are not being paid directly for your emails, if the emails that you send, the newsletter that you put out there isn't the product itself, then you need to be funneling those email subscribers into your paid products. Now, in my case, I can offer newsletter sponsorship to brand partners and lump that in. And so that would be a situation where the newsletter itself is the product. But for many of you, that is not the case. So you don't need to be so stressed on, I just need the biggest list possible. I just need to be a part of that virtual summit, for me to host a conference, for me to do, to run ads and pay all this money just to have a big list, without having in mind Why do you want the list? And what are you funneling that traffic into? Okay. So again, we're going back here and we're saying, what is the free offer? How am I leading them through paid offers in my business based on them qualifying themselves on that free piece of content? Okay. This same format could apply just to your newsletter list in general, just to your email list in general. In my case, I have a landing page on my website. I will say a lot of people are not creating a dedicated page on their website to their newsletter, and they are missing out. The reason why, number one, Google's going to crawl it, but number two, it makes it easier for people to refer your newsletter. So in my case, if I go to my website and I either click on join the club or click on start here, it's going to take you to a specific landing page all about my Bootstrap Club, which is my newsletter. All right, there we go. So if you were to look at this at the very top, you had that same form, okay? And I could, right now, like I said, I've been tweaking this. I just changed this. So when someone fills out this form, they get the email that I sent today. But come tomorrow, that's not as relevant. Tomorrow, I may not want to be driving traffic to the replay of this actual live stream. I may want to drive traffic to the waitlist form for the Monetize Your List bootcamp. Okay. So you can constantly just change that redirect on your newsletter form to what are you selling in this moment without having to write all these specialized emails and map stuff out in Flodesk. And you don't have to do all that. Okay. Workflows don't have to be 20 steps long. They can literally be submit form, redirect traffic here. Okay. And so here's a situation where I could say, if someone is coming to my website and they are very clear that the point of the Bootstrap Club is to give them mindful marketing and tech tips, what can I sell them right away that will meet the need of someone who is interested in that type of content? Perhaps I have I'm just making stuff up, but maybe I have a bundle of meditation videos or Bible verse videos about peace and business. I'm just saying, putting this out there. Okay. Maybe I had some content that was just that. I could redirect traffic, or maybe I have some digital prints that I made where it's connected to a gelato shop. So it's print on demand. And here are affirmations to help you in business, or Bible verses to inspire you in business. As soon as someone fills out this form, that's what I should be redirecting traffic to. Starting that journey of sending those newsletter subscribers to something that makes sense based on what I qualified the newsletter to accomplish. It's not just, oh, you signed up for free, I need you to get more free stuff. Okay. So I want to give you that picture simply to show you workflows in your business might actually be simpler than you're making them out to be. One more thing I want to show you before I start answering questions. If you've had questions along the way or you have questions now, go ahead and drop those in the comments for me. But I want to show you, let me go back here. Now, I'll be honest with you, Flodesk just did a major update to workflow. So if you haven't been there in a while, you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff that maybe you didn't see before. But here are some other applications of what I'm talking about and how you can leverage tech to simplify this for yourself. So as I click on the workflows tab inside of playlist, you can see, or inside of Flodesk, here are some workflow templates. So you don't have to start from scratch. There are some things that are already mapped out for you based on what is converting well. But look on the left-hand side. You can browse them all at the same time, but there are some new workflows that have been added. Abandoned cart. Okay. What happens when someone goes to your digital product shop and they put in a template bundle, but they don't actually buy it? You can utilize Flodesk to go after them and say, hey, saw you were interested in XYZ. you know, here's a 10% discount code that can help you buy that product. Love for you to try it. Okay. So you could develop a workflow simply to address people who have abandoned their cart. You could do a workflow for customers who purchase something in your business. That would be a purchase follow up. Maybe it's an event registration. You're hosting a free webinar. Maybe you're trying to re engage subscribers on your list who have grown cold and you're trying to get them to open the emails again. So at the end of the day, if you have a specific goal in mind and you are using Flodesk, you can just go inside of the system and select a workflow template that's going to map out the emails that you should send to accomplish that goal. And so this is going to make your life a lot easier. In my case, I'll be honest with you, I set up a lot of the workflows in my business so long ago that I kind of need to rebuild them. I'll be honest with you. And so part of what I'll be doing in Q2 is like cleaning things up. Now that I've gotten things to the point where my open rate is back where I want it to be, let me go be strategic and start looking at what are the forms I have? What are the workflows that I had in place in the past? And how can I start looking at those workflows, not just from the perspective of how can I grow my list, but how can I grow my income? Because now I feel like I have a very good handle on my YouTube channel. We're on track to hit 100K this year. I don't need to focus as hard on that as I need to on my list. Okay. And so I will be walking alongside you in this process. And more than likely, I'll be honest with you, more than likely, we'll be talking about this as the next series on the channel. And it will drive traffic to the Flodesk form that I showed you earlier. And we'll build up leads for the bootcamp. Okay. So I know this one was a bit more conceptual than the other two live streams in the series where I talked about your emails set up and I started talking about your segments. I would encourage you to check out not just those live streams, but to potentially check out my Flodesk playlist because I have over 20 tutorials specifically about Flodesk. And I will tell you, I just received notification of some new stuff that is happening and rolling out in April that I'll be creating a dedicated YouTube video about. So more to come about how you can be using it in your business. Like I said in that email that I sent this morning, the techniques that I'm talking about today aren't just applicable to Flodesk, but I do believe that Flodesk does a very good job of helping you to implement these. So if you're using ActiveCampaign, if you're using MailerLite, if you're using Beehive or Kit, the idea is map out what does the process look like to take someone from getting on your list with free content to working up your offer ladder and try to shorten the amount of time it takes to take them from free to paid. Because ultimately, that's how you run a sustainable business online. That's how you can leverage tech to work less and live more because those systems are automating sales for you. So you're getting daily leads and eventually daily payouts. All right. So I hope that was helpful. I do want to share with you a couple things. I have got a free webinar coming up tomorrow with Leah Weinberg. Leah taught our workshop in January for the Bootstrap Star students. I'm hopping into her community tomorrow. The link is in the description. We're going to be talking about the 1, 2, 3s of entrepreneurship, specifically about burnout. How can we leverage tech to do less manually and live a more fulfilling life? So I would love if you are available for you to sign up for that free webinar, for you to root for me in the comments. And I believe you will also get access to the replay if you're not able to attend live. So the link to that is in the description. I also want to share with you this because I think sometimes it's tempting to always have your game face on and always be, everything's about business and not having fun as well. And I want to do a better job of that. I have been very convicted lately that I talk a lot about tech, but I want to share a little bit more about my life in a way that is in alignment with my values and is sustainable. I want to be present when I'm with my people, but I also have a lot of fun things in my life I want to share. So I have started a new thing for myself. I gave it a very baby brand because I just love marketing. And so I'm calling it Loving Life in the Blue Ridge. If you're from the state of Virginia, you know our state tourism slogan is Virginia is for lovers. So I want to share more about things that I love in the state. And I want to give myself a creative outlet to create Canva graphics and to go outside and experience what the state has to offer, to be a tourist in my own town. So I created this particular format using some pictures from the Sunflower Festival a few years ago. On the second tab, I simply did a very quick roundup of some flower festival opportunities. The annual Daffodil Festival was this past weekend. The Tulips Festival has started at the Lehman Family Farms, and Historic Garden Week is a statewide initiative that starts on the 17th of April. The last graphic that I made in this carousel was I said, "Hi, I'm LaShonda. I've lived in Virginia my whole life, have absolutely no plans of leaving. I teach busy biz owners how to leverage tech to do less manually and live more fulfilling lives. I go as hard offline as I do online. Follow for tech tips and hidden gems in Virginia." While I love to post about tech, I want to not have my Instagram account be straight up ads. I want them to just be valuable info that is grounded and rooted in the things that I enjoy and the things that I love. And so that is how I'm going to practically use this little hashtag and series. So I think not only is it going to be a fun outlet for me, but it's also going to help my sponsors to perform better because it's going to engage my community on Instagram. So when I post sponsored content, it performs well. Okay. So again, I want to show you practical application of things that I'm doing. When I went and shot the Lulu Shoot, I created content that I could repurpose and use for the graphics on this channel. And I'm really, really pleased with how this particular sponsored video came to be. You may not even notice this, but the very beginning of that reel was content from a video I did years ago about creating UGC. And so I took content from an old YouTube video to start this particular reel that we created for Lulu. And so I was able to use past work because I look the same. I have my same braids. I keep my looks similar so that I can get more leverage out of the content I'm making. And so it was a combination of having that content already made, shooting some video content while we were shooting the photos. And so I was able to do a comprehensive campaign on YouTube, Instagram, and on LinkedIn. And I pulled this off in less than an hour on a Saturday before I went to a wedding. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. I did see a quick comment from Trisha. Email has been something I've been struggling to figure out how to grow and utilize my list with my done for you and done with you offers. So Trisha, you are going to love the plan for the boot camp then, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. So number one, don't be too hard on yourself because a lot of people focus so much on getting people on the email list that they haven't actually developed a good funnel for constantly selling their offers. So what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to do a lot of the conceptualizing of what the bootcamp looks like. And then I'm going to use the work with me session on Friday to probably build the Flodesk checkout page and the structure to actually sell people on what the bootcamp will be. That way you guys can ask questions. And again, building in public, you will see it all come into fruition. So that way I don't have to create separate content for the live stream because it's what I need to actually get done in my business. So I really hope this was valuable to you. So glad to see some of my members here. See Darlene, Chanel, Lolita, Adrian. So thank you guys so much for watching this. And again, I will go ahead and make sure that Angela puts in the time code so you're able to specifically go back to sections if you want to replay it. If you haven't already, you can drop into the comments, what do you plan on taking off your plate this week to make more room for creativity? And I would encourage you to come back on Friday to get some work done with me. Last Friday, we hit the record. We actually had 66 people co-working on that live stream. That was the most I've had so far. So I think that's crazy when you really think about it. Like, I could never get deep focus work done in a coffee shop with 66 people working at the same time. But using YouTube, we can make that possible. So I'm constantly trying to give you guys practical strategies that you can see me doing in real time and that you can customize to meet your needs. I hope today was helpful. I hope to see you on Friday. And as you like to say on the channel, until next time, ta-ta for now.